When it comes to Holy Grail pedals, it doesn't get much more Holy Grail than this. Started it all. Released in 1976, which is nearly 50 years ago, the Boss Chorus Ensemble was based on the Roland JC120 stereo chorus. The JC120 was such a lush sounding chorus and was very, very well loved by keyboard players as well as guitar players that Boss wanted to release that sound in a pedal for players to use with their own amps. Hence, the Boss Chorus Ensemble was born. Now, there have been many imitators over the years, but arguably nothing has come close to the original. At least that's what we're going to try and find out today. I am lucky enough to have borrowed an original Boss Chorus Ensemble for this video, and this particular model is from around 1983. Now the CE1 has the vibrato and chorus control there. It has the normal and the effect on and off, and you can see when the normal is selected, which is just your dry signal, that light stops flashing. When the pedal is on, that is flashing. That's how you know that the chorus sound, or in this case the vibrato sound, is working. Then you have this level control. You've got a high and a low input. Now the chorus has just one control, and that is intensity. And then the vibrato has depth and rate. You then have a power switch, and being a vintage pedal, this is mains powered. No 9 volt on this one. The Boss CE1 kind of began it all for what is now the most synonymous name with guitar effects pedals in the world, and that is Boss. This pedal has been a staple for many, many guitarists, but certainly someone like Andy Summers or John Frusciante are very well known for using this particular pedal. Now, this pedal, being nearly 50 years old, has its quirks for sure, and there are things that technology have come along and improved for us. Guitar players spend an inordinate amount of time chasing vintage tone with modern technology. So what we find ourselves with is a vintage pedal that we have got digital modern emulations of. I'm going to compare the original Boss CE1 to mostly the Universal Audio Brigade chorus, but also to the Ensemble plugin from Guitar Rig 6. Before we get into today's video, I want to just talk quickly about the setup. I've got quite a convoluted setup here, which I'll show you on my desk. The Boss CE1 was a pedal that was designed for keyboard players as well as guitar players. So the input is a 50K pot on the level control. So what that means for guitar world is that when you give it a guitar pickup, you lose a lot of high end straight away. Now, a common mod on these CE1s is to change that to a 500K pot. But being as this is a fully original untouched pedal, we're not doing that. And it's not mine. We're not doing that. But what I can do is I can put a buffered pedal before it. So that's essentially what the 50K pot is expecting to see, is a buffer. So here's my rather convoluted setup on my rather messy desk. Apologies for that. I go from the guitar, Strat style guitar, into this BB preamp here. The BB preamp goes into the DPC Micro, which is just a true bypass looper. A is for the Brigade. So into there, I go into this Kingmaker fuzz, which is not on. I'm just using that for its stereo outs. And that is giving me my stereo inputs onto 2 inputs of my Apollo. I then have over here on C, I've got the CE1. Now this is the booster pedal there that is literally just matched to be the same level as the output of the guitar, and it is buffering the input of the CE1. Let's get into the comparisons. What I've done is I have matched the levels of these as closely as I can. The level control of the CE1 is crucial to the tone. And because it was designed for keyboards and guitars, there's a relatively small window, I would say, of where this sounds good. But that is, again, one of the quirks of a nearly 50-year-old pedal. One thing UA have done is match incredibly well the movement of the chorus and the vibrato sound. So when we're comparing whether the emulation sounds like the original, having those little details matched that meticulously by UA, I think is really, really great. And kudos to them. Let's compare some of the sounds. Enough of me talking shite. I'm going to start with the original CE1, and I'm going to just put the chorus at 12 o'clock. And I'm going to compare that with the Brigade chorus with the chorus intensity up at 12 o'clock as well. So, first of all, the CE1 sounds like this. Pretty lush, pretty wide. Now, let's compare that with the Brigade chorus. Again, beautifully lush and beautifully wide. And you can hear how similar those chorus sounds are. The speed of that movement is actually almost exactly the same, which is really great. And one of those little nerdy things that I reckon that we guitarists pay attention to. Now, let's move over to the vibrato channel. So I'm going to go back over to the CE1, and I'm now in vibrato. Now, vibrato is basically the chorus sound, but not split like it was before with the chorus. So you don't have the same stereo thing, but you've got this cool pitch vibrato effect. So. Personally a big fan of that vibrato. The Brigade chorus doing the same thing. Again, very lush. Now, straight away, one of the things that I think that I have to address is the digital emulation absolutely has a lower noise floor than the original. The original is no doubt a noisy pedal, but one of those things I think that you can forgive in a pedal that is 50 years old. But that is one tick for sure for the Brigade. The second tick for the Brigade is this convoluted setup that I had to use, but again, I'm going to forgive it because it's such a holy grail pedal. Let's try a slower chorus sound this time. So I'm going to go back to the C1. I'm going to go down to around about 9 o'clock on the chorus. And let's have a listen to that. And let's do the same thing on the brigade. Beautiful, beautiful, lush chorus sounds. Okay, so let's now try a faster chorus. This is going to be the chorus maxed out on both of them. We're going to start with the brigade this time. So this is the brigade chorus on full. Pretty cool. I'm into that for sure. Okay, let's go over to the CE1. Same thing. Once again, a beautiful, an exact movement of those chorus sounds. Now let's try another vibrato sound. We're going to put the depth up full and we're going to wind the rate back a little bit. Now, one of the things that I think is so awesome about this is that I can basically copy the exact notches of the dot of this pedal with the brigade chorus on my screen here and know that it'll sound the same, which is a real advantage. First of all, the CE1. And the brigade. Very cool. One of the things that I should note is that the original CE1 is definitely quieter than the emulation. So I have matched the levels a little bit, and it's not a huge difference, but it is there. Final comparison that I want to make is actually then with the Guitar Rig 6 Ensemble. No doubting that that is a chorus ensemble imitation. I'm just going to do this very simply. I'm just going to do this with the chorus. I'm just going to do it with a clean sound. I'm just going to do it with the chorus on all of them at 12 o'clock. And then I'm going to do the vibrato with all of them, depth at 12 and rate at about 2 o'clock. First of all, let's hear the original CE1 chorus and then vibrato. Finally, the ensemble chorus. Now, the same thing here. We've got the intensity at 12 and the depth of the vibrato at 12 and the rate at about 2 o'clock. You'll hear there's a slight difference. Now, it's close, but it's not exactly the same, which is not to say it's bad at all, but it is not exactly the same. Again, let's hear the vibrato of the CE1. Now let's flick it on with the Ensemble, same settings. So, not exactly the same. However, having said that, what the Ensemble can do is use these bass, middle, and treble controls. You've got a bit more of a control over the mix and the stereo widening of it. Plus, you can actually set it to be in time with your tempo. So you can set it the rate to be, you know, an 8th or a 16th or whatever, which could be quite useful for you. Having said that, if we are talking about the emulation and how well it stacks up to the original, I feel like the Guitar Rig 6 is a little bit different. Again, not to say that's bad, it's just different. The Brigade is a dead-on emulation as far as I'm concerned, with all of the advantages that the original doesn't have, such as no noise floor. Now, not just low, I found no noise floor in the emulation at all. The emulation also has this cool setting where instead of the high and low input switch of the chorus ensemble, it's got what's called the dual and the classic mode. Now the dual mode is just 2 choruses and it's the chorus on both sides, whereas the classic mode does what the chorus ensemble does here. So if you are using the Brigade plugin on a stereo bus, you can get in your DAW, that is, you can get the same chorus on one side, dry on the other side effect of the CE1, or flick that switch and you have chorus on both sides. That's why the plugin is very cool. Number 2, the chorus ensemble is a very expensive old vintage pedal. At the time of me making this video, these are going for around 12 to 1500 Australian dollars. Now the Brigade chorus is around 1/10 the price of that. So in terms of a value for money, the Brigade is going to be a better option. Of course, if you are a pedal investor and you are looking for the vintage prices to go up and up, then of course you want the CE1. But if you are an average player and you don't have, you know, $1,500 to spend on a old pedal that has its own quirks, then the Brigade may be the way to go. Finally, the ability for the Brigade to be used across multiple channels and across stereo buses, across mono inputs, and in all different ways on different instruments. It's much easier to use this plugin in different interesting and inventive ways than it is to use the original. So where does that leave us? Well, the CE1, you can't understate its place in pedal history. It began it all. We would not have all of these other pedals were it not for the Boss CE1. There's something cool about the vintage nature of this pedal. Another thing I love about the CE1 is the fact that you can plug it into your amp very easily. Now, you can plug a Brigade chorus into an amp, but you need a reamper and you need to change the impedance and all of those things, and it can be a pain in the ass to do that. Brigade is an incredibly versatile plugin and I really, really like the sound of it. 1/10 the cost, no noise floor, sounds lush, sounds every bit as good as the original, and all of the knobs match exactly with what the original does in terms of the sound of the chorus. Now, usually I'd say go out and compare and try for yourself, but of course these CE1s are not easy to come by. And I was very fortunate to be able to borrow this very quickly and do a quick demo with this. So you'll have to take my word on this. I'm going to play it out today with the drive on into the CE1 and into the Brigade, playing 2 different parts. And I want you to see If you can tell which one is which, let us know in the comments. Which did you prefer? Also tell me that. I'd love to know. And if there's any other comparisons you'd love to see, please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching Noisegate. We'll see you next time.